ghosty girl. So let's go ahead and use my favorite sculpting palette, which is Sigma Sculpt. And that is the highlight and contour palette. And this is what it looks like. I could use this whole thing for my face. I've shown you all that before. But right now, all I want to use it for is just this color right here called Faking It. That's one of the best colors for me, just because it's a very cool brown. And get above where you naturally go in right there. Just get, you can even, to be sure you do it, sit the butt end of your brush, the short end, right there, and then go back and forth. So you know you stay above it. And then because I have these little chipmunk cheeks, I come right down to sculpt it out. See how that kind of gives me a little more cheek. See that look there? And dab it off. And right there. And then just stay above it. And then I come all the way in to give me a little bit. And then I round out whatever's left over into the hairline, little circle, so it doesn't look like a line. But see how that kind of just, you know, kind of brings the white forward, which makes the rest of the face recede. Then I'm going to use the extra and a little bit of this throw shade with this underneath here, so this isn't so whitey. Especially right on the chin. Just watch how this will lift the chin. See how it gives a little bit of a shadow, so it just looks more not so fatty under here. But blend down real good. And then if you want to, you can also do this, make yourself a little line right there. Because this is, again, it drops right there. And then I just kind of hit that all the way to behind the ear. Back and forth, kind of blending that line out. Make sure you, if you're going to make a line like this, which again, look, I'm going to make a line with this tip end. See how that's a line? So now you're going to have a line there. So you got to blend it out. And really blend that dropping jowl right there. Right past the earring. It's probably best not to have your earrings on yet. But that just makes a nice little line. Then I'll come up a little bit on the bulbous end because I have a very big chin. Oh, and then I also do it right under my nose. Breathe out while you're doing it through your nose so it doesn't, the powder doesn't go up your nose. Like that. And see how it shortens your nose and shortens your chin. Now, I could add blush right now. I could either use this blush, or I have the other Sigma palette, which is their cheek palette. Different blushes. And really, you could use this without that one because it's got some browns in it. But I do like the other one a lot. I think today I will use this Pinkin again. The lighter pink seems to do well for me. This is very wintry looking. And almost I wouldn't need contour if I use that. So that's one way that you can do it. And instead of the butt end or the short end, I use the tall end. It's a little more fingerly. It's not as tightly packed. So I can just smile and let it just drop off. Meaning just there and then just it drops off so it doesn't make a line. And then blend it in with the top part of the contour. Don't go below. Here. And a little bit on the bridge of the nose, just right here, not down here. Keep that white, because that's what gives that dark white red. And what that does is give you a shorter nose, and also looks like you got a little bit of sun. Again, if you want to make it look really like you got sun, come a little further in and stay on the top like that. That's where sunburn happens, so it kind of looks, oh, she got sun. Also make sure you do the top part, not under here, this top bulbous part of the chin, because it looks like you got sun. Now I am going to blend that in, because I don't mind having a little paint. And also, a little bit where you put the bronzer back through here, come right in front of it right here. And that kind of just blends the brown to pink to white. And I might blend a little of it back into the hairline as well. There. Now once again, I feel like I overdid it. So what do we do when we overdo it? You just take regular powder. It's not really a color, really. And kind of go over that and blend that out a little bit. So it's not so prominent. Or, one of the best things really that you can do is just take all the color off of a brush. Just take it off of the brush. Just by going to your little makeup towel and just knocking all the makeup off. And then just kind of blend it. Not too much, because you just went to the trouble to get it on there. But just so you don't have lines and it's not so prominent. Yeah. It's nice. Looks like I got a little sun. And I'm wearing a sweater. You know why I'm wearing a sweater today? Because I'm inside, of course. I'm cold today. I'm probably going to get super hot in a little while and go, why did I do that? Okay. I need another sip of my coffee. I have no idea how many videos this is going to be, but that's okay. Oh, because I'm so cold. My toes are cold today. Okay, so let's knock off all the little fallout. All right, so today's eye palette is Persona's Identity Palette. And I really love this one. This is the Ultimate Eyeshadow Palette for Brown Eyes. It says Sonia Gasparian. But this is Persona Cosmetics, so you could go to personacosmetics.com and get this. Again, it's the Identity Palette. I fell in love with it because I think the little gal on here looks very chic, and she's in Paris. And y'all, I love it. I just think that is so pretty. But more importantly, the colors. I can't think of a better eye palette that I've ever seen. I mean, really and truly. It's just, look at those colors. To me, they've also got, you could go very fall with this end, very summer with this end. You know, you've got your bronzy, orangey color here, which also can be fall. The kind of these greenish hints over here with these golds, especially that one. For my green eyes, I'm just in the mood to play with this today. And I think what I'm going to start with, which is not normally the way that I do. Well, let's do what I normally should do. And that is I use an E55 shader from Sigma. And this is good to use right under the brow in the inner corner. And I'm going to use this color right here, Sassy. Tap off. Right under the brow. What does that do? That highlighty, champagne-y color really highlights the shape of the brow. That's why. And I go a little bit past it. Then I use what's left over on the inner corner. And sometimes I'll just brush it right over the lid. That inner corner just wakes it up. Do you see the difference? Just how woken up this eye looks. Now it does look more made up whenever you use a frost. This is a very shimmery color, so you're going to look very made up. So you have to decide, do you want to look very made up? I don't care. I love it. Wow, I kind of put a lot on that side, so now I've got to even this side. Let's go under the brow. And then a little past it. Why don't I go a little past it? Because when I clean all this up later, and I want to, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of blend all the lines out, I'll have that back there to work with. Because if there's dark back there, it looks terrible. So you want to have that. Now, before I go any further, I actually do like to put on my, before I do anything underneath, I like to go ahead and put on my concealer. As y'all know, I've been a huge fan lately. I mean, I've always been a huge fan, but this is all I've been wearing for makeup lately, is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, and it's in color number 110, which is fair. And I like that this uses up fast enough that by the time that I would say I really don't want to be using the sponge much longer, you're used up. So I don't clean the sponge. You do a few clicks. It's actually a lot more clicks. And instead of going like that, I start from out here and stay very close to the lash line. Very close. And then I come down right there. Very close to the lash line. And then down. Now, one of the other things that you can do is wake up this little area right here and here where that dark shall come right down. Where that is. And that kind of makes that not so prominent, that wrinkle that just drops. It's not actually a wrinkle. It's a facial structural change as you get older. And I do like to also do the outside part of my nostril, because if you do come in like this, it actually makes your nose smaller looking. What people used to do is just do a very darkening on the ridge up here to make your nose look smaller. But one of the other things you can do that looks honestly a lot more natural than drawing brown lines down your nose is to make white lines down the wider side. And that just naturally, look how that's bringing the nose in because of the brightness. And then also you can, right here, in these, little wrinkles that we get, it's not really a wrinkle, it has a wrinkle in it, but it's a structural problem. And it's not going anywhere. And then I also like to put just a little bit right there. Some people like to put some in the 11s. I might use a little. The only thing is any of this that you put on, it is a little thicker. I try to get it as thin as possible. Y'all know one of my favorites that's very, very thin is the Match Perfection from Rimmel, and that's in color 230 Fair. This is almost like water. And people think, well, why wouldn't you do that? You do. It's not as good coverage, but it doesn't set it so hard. Doesn't set the wrinkles so hard. So I kind of switch back and forth between these two, and they are my absolute favorites. Now, some people say, use your ring finger. Well, y'all know my ring finger's messed up, so putting pressure on it actually hurts. And I started using my forefinger, and do you know, I feel like I have more control with this. When I just go straight back, and then come forward, like that. And just make sure I come on either side of the nose. And here, this that we just made, here and there. Maybe in the tip of the nose like that. Now, that's obviously still too much. So to blend it out, I'm going to use my next finger, not my ring finger. I'm going to blend this out and down. Out. And I'm coming down. Out. And down. And I could put a little there just to make it a little brighter looking. Here, out, and there. Right in that little crease right there. And it's nice and bright. Now, if you feel like it's too bright back here, which you can, just go ahead and blend that down a little bit more. And then it's nice and bright. Again, if you look up close, it is a little thicker. And you know what else is wrong? I forgot to put on my Bobbi Brown under my eyes, so that's why it's looking a little dried out. It is dried out, dang. But you don't want to put it on after. But this is my Bobbi Brown. It is the Extra Eye Repair Cream. It is great. I do put it on very lightly. Don't put it on too heavy because then it does look actually worse. What I